Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Reno by Night. Our scene is set, or shall we say the second part of this scene, is set far from Reno, about an hour's drive out into the desert. The city lights are but a dim gleam on the horizon, and the prince looks up to a ocean of stars, as it were. The celestial heavens loom above him, and it has been a while since he was able to stare at the majesty of the cosmos. It is pleasing to him, but it is also a reminder him of the task at hand. His ghoul had unloaded the equipment out of the car. He is having him beginning to set up. The prince has a lot on his mind, and he hopes that this will not interfere with the ritual, so he tries to calm himself. He tries to forget about the letter that was sent on his way out of town. Gosh, these following nights are going to be quite eventful if Miss Calliope is able to succeed. For he does need to present something to the Balefire Coalition. Too much has happened for him not to. He tries to calm himself. Focus. Focus on the task at hand. With that, he reaches into his pocket and draws out a knife. It is not as ceremonious as he would like, but it is a tool for the job. And so, as his ghoul places the equipment down, the sword is laid onto the ground, a telescope is brought out, and the prince begins to carve. He carves into the ground arcs, symbols, letters. He begins to trace all along the circumference of his ritual, trying to create a conduit for which the heavens and the earth may be linked, through which that cosmic truth might be able to be known. He focuses, forget everything else but the ritual. Create the conduit. He repeats to himself again and again. Create the conduit. And upon its completion, he reaches and grabs the sword. Taking it, he holds the blade down towards the center of it, where a great symbol is carved. The symbol of Mercury, the symbol of Hermes. And within the circle at the very center, he plunges the sword into the ground, creating the link with the earth. And this ritual, this foci. He then heads to the edge of the circle. He kneels, placing his hands on the very borderline of it. He looks at his ghoul. He nods his head. The ghoul already has the telescope set out. He is finding the position in the sky, finding that distant light that is in correlation with that great bringer of wisdom to Earth so long ago. With that, he focuses his entire being, spending willpower, creating the conduit. With that, please give me 4 dice.
Okay, 1 second. Sorry, 4 dice, yeah.
4 dice. With the willpower expenditure.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Oh my.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, that's way above average. Yep. So describe this. This ritual has gone very well. So describe how it is.
As the prince focuses, he focuses on the image in his mind of the sword, He simply asks his ghoul, "What does the messenger say?" With that, the ghoul, with his spot secured in the sky, basically describes the appearance of that far distant planet.
I would say as you're performing this ritual and as the ghoul is describing the stars, the positions and the meanings of what they are, the sword will start glowing a very bright blue as it is forced into the ground, and you will feel a great heat, a great sense of power, a great sense of the supernatural emanating from it.
Upon completing his description, the prince, with his eyes still closed, with his hand still touching the very edge of the circle, begins to incant. Spheres above, earth below, reveal the truth of thy conduit. What secrets can be gleaned from the heavens and the earth, and their place in creation? Messenger, deliver unto me that cosmic truth.
As you speak these holy words, these sacred words, the blade in the ground will start vibrating, start sort of moving heavily. Uh, as you grip it or leave it, you can see it vibrate heavily in the ground. And a kind of a smoke or a mist emerges from the blade and rises slightly above it. And even with the backdrop of the night sky, suddenly this face will emerge because of your successes. And you'll see this tooth-like face merge with these bright eyes, but it's formed out of mist, out of mystery, out of supernatural essence. And it will look towards you going, "Why have you summoned me?"
At that point, not expecting this at all, and this is the price one pays, the price of a seeker of knowledge. He will quickly turn and say, "Close your eyes, Marcus. Do not open them."
Yeah,
He will,
so the entity who is looking, its head slowly floats towards your face, and its eyes are directly looking towards you, and has a very long mouth, very long crocodile sort of shaped face.
"I seek the truth of this artifact. Are you the power of this blade?"
I can smell sin upon you, cursed of the moon, doomed to the shadows. Your ties destroy your soul. But to answer your question, yes, I am the being that blesses this blade.
The prince, quite out of character, at the loss of what to do at this point. Well, summon what
would he have to do courage, or has he sort of met
I'd say,
these?
yeah, he'll need to roll courage, but he's got a pretty decent courage. So he's got 3 temporary willpower plus courage of 4, so that would be 7.
Oh, sorry, I've just blah blah blah. 7 dice. No. He is shitting a brick, I think, at the moment.
All right, I think at this point he is going to need to spend another temporary willpower just to not like break the ritual right now, which would have dramatic consequences. So he's
Yeah.
oh gosh, he is not in a good state right now. So visibly shaking, but still just not letting go of the ritual. He will say, "Are you the being that the one of my kind, the one called Diedrich Graves, summoned, the one who caused such chaos in the city?"
Sobek be my name, accursed shade that you are. And yes, this Graves summoned me, forced my blessing. It would seem your kind have much interest in Sobek.
I am but a seeker of truth. I care nothing for whatever blessing you had upon this blade. Great darkness was brought to my kingdom, and I seek to understand what happened.
Sobek banished your perceived evil from your realm. The fires purged its sins, its guilt. Graves paid the price and survived. Your kind do surprise Sobek quite often.
Diedrich Graves is alive? But how? He walked into the desert. He greeted the sun.
Your ignorance offends me. Our ways are beyond your meager mortal perception.
The prince definitely is not the best at occult, but he can understand royalty when he hears the tone. So he's going to make an etiquette roll.
That's fine. This. See how well you do.
Would you say wits
Uh,
plus
I would
charisma
say
plus?
I would normally say charisma, but I'd say because you're so panicked, I would say wits
All right, then.
and
So this
expression.
is going to be
Oh,
wits plus etiquette or
wits
expression?
plus etiquette. Wits
Okay.
plus etiquette because you're quite panicked.
In that case, 5 dice.
Okay, 5 dice. Okay, quite good. Yeah.
Okay, as he will say, Lord Sobek, I do not mean to offend. It is the seeker's burden to be ignorant in the eyes of the cosmos and its immaculance, its inscrutability. It is my curse to forever ask the questions to those who know the answers. If you deem fit, I will listen. If not, it is not my place to take your time.
Your humble words, please, Sobek. Ignorance of your kind is commonplace. I will answer 2 of your questions. But then I shall leave, and you shall place an offering to me at this place, this lifeless desert, before you leave.
The prince will weigh his options and will finally say, "Thank you, great Sobek, for indulging the seeker's curiosity. My first question: where is Diedrich Graves now?"
I can still smell him, taste his essence. He lives with the common. He lives with the usurped, the unplaced, the disregarded. A cave he dwells in, feeding on the low, feeding on the undeserving.
Prince will think at least he's out of my city, but he will need to have one-armed Mike take caution when his journeys around Reno. The second question: is there a way to bring a kindred back from the dead?
Your cursed souls are hard to gather, to reform in your plane, but such things are possible. The cost, the price is always sweet to Sobek.
The prince will pause for a minute, not even pretending to breathe. No longer, even the fear has begun to elevate. For the first time, something has truly taken root within his dark, dark soul. That most dangerous and destructive force of all, hope. But he will say no more, for this apparition said he would answer two questions and nothing more. And so the prince will say, "Thank you, wise Sobek."
Let me taste of you. Let me smell your essence. And the face will dive quickly into your chest, near your chest, and will sniff greatly and a big breath. And you feel like your very soul has been nearly torn out of your body. And basically, what this means, this creature will know your humanity, it'll gauge your humanity. And as it does that, and I already know your humanity, and it will just simply go, you may prove worthy of Sobek. Such interest your kind are.
Thank you for your praise, mighty Sobek.
It purrs every time you sort of say a mighty or his name. It kind of purrs.
The prince will, with thinking that he has reached their end of which this experiment could have gone, you will say, "I wish not to keep you any further. The seeker is fulfilled. May you return to your place in the cosmos and continue as you have and is your right, as a being of a higher plane."
I thank you for your etiquette. I shall leave, but know this blade is blessed by the hand of Sobek. And with that, the mist, the black shadow, the essence of what this creature or entity is, sort of dissolves back into the sand. And you'll see the sand slightly shuffle and move as this sort of wind and mist kind of soaks into the desert.
The prince will look. Is the sword any different than it was?
The sword is still the same. It gives off an essence of heat, and you'll see where the sand, where it's been plunged into, is still, it's actually slightly burnt, and a black kind of ember seems to surround the blade as if it's, and some of the sand is slightly turned to glass as the heat has transformed it.
The prince, seeing that the ritual is finally done, he will remove his hands and turn to his ghoul, who is still got one eye glued to the telescope, but audibly shaking, as he will just approach the ghoul and say, Marcus, you can open your eyes. But the ghoul will not say anything. He'll just continue to shake uncontrollably. And he'll just put his hand on the ghoul's shoulder and say, Marcus. The ghoul will just say, Mercury turned an ashen shade, pale as the grave, pale as death. The messenger had teeth, in which part the prince will just turn him and just say, sleep, at which point the ghoul just collapse. He will then turn back to the sword and say, and now for my end of the bargain. He will then head up to the sword, touch it, pull it out. You have given me hope. So I shall give you half of my sight. And with that, the prince will reach up and he will just ram his hand into his eye socket, and then with excruciating pain, he'll just go, pull it out.
Wow. I don't know if you need to do a roll for that if you're ripping your own eye out.
With potence, like, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
like hell.
It'll hurt like hell, but yeah, if you got high bonus, yeah, that's fine.
He is going to be hurt, and he is going to, before he'll spend blood to heal it up, he will take the blade and then just sort of dash the eye along it.
No, yeah. As soon as you do that, you hear a kind of the similar purring sound, the similar sort of happy, joyful sound that the entity or the creature made, and a kind of, again, a righteous feeling comes over you, a religious, powerful sense of you've done correctly, you've done properly, comes over you.
With that, he will retrieve his ghoul. He will spend his blood. Quick question: does the eye grow back, or is it just gone for good?
No, the eye can grow back. I don't know. It might be aggravated damage. I don't know, because you're healing.
That is true. I can say it's aggravated damage.
I would say it's aggravated damage. It will take a willpower point plus 5 blood points to heal, or 5 blood points in a week to heal.
We'll do the 5 blood points in a week to heal.
Yep. So you will have no eye for a week.
Out of character, do I have to pay that all now, or can that be done like over the course of a week?
I would say you've got loads of herd and stuff. I'm sure.
All right then. So
yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Just so that he doesn't frenzy and eat his ghoul on accident, he'll just load.
No, it's a blood point per day between the week. I'm
Oh,
sure.
okay, so yeah, I'll mark it down to 8 for now.
Yeah, you have no eye for a week. Just keep squinting.
And so, with that, he will get behind the driver's side after putting the telescope and the sword and everything else back in. You will see that he left his phone on the inside of the car, and he has a message. He will open it up, and as he begins to read, that last eye he has, the eye of a La Sombre, begins to redden as veins pulse into it. And without another word, the car turns to life. The wheels begin to just spin, and this car rockets out of the desert, just going faster, paying no attention to speed, paying no attention to any damage there can be. Like a bat out of hell, the car is just driving at breakneck speed back to the city. Somewhere in Reno, though, three kindred will be getting a text message. It will simply say, "The Night Church. Now, the Prince." 2-1 Alex Blackmoon, Cameron Forsyth, and Carl Voltaire. And with that, our scene will end.